Hey to everyone out there watching, and thanks for your continued support. Welcome back to Northeastern Pennsylvania's #1 fantasy fishing show. Special shout out to Sean from Delaware, who says he gets all of his professional bass fishing knowledge from here. It's JT from Keystone Crew Outdoors giving you a recap for fantasy fishing from the Bassmaster Elite Series on the Harris Chain of Lakes, and to give you my picks for the big one. That's right, the Super Bowl of professional bass fishing, the Bassmaster Classic. The Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic is presented by Hook this year. And it takes place from March 4th through the 6th, 2022 on Lake Hartwell in Greenville, South Carolina. Let's get into a recap of the Harris Chain of Lakes. My picks are getting better, but they're still not great. The crew's picks are actually better than my picks, my gut feeling picks. We had 3 in the top 20 last tournament, so my gut picks not so much. I continue to botch bucket A. Austin Felix killed me with the 68th place finish in the tournament. Tournament before, Hackney killed me. Let's hope I can lock down bucket A for the Classic. Here's a rundown of my picks from last event and what a perfect roster would have looked like for you guys. So my gut picks, the ones that I went with, were Austin Felix with the 68th place finish. Brandon Palnick had a pretty good showing at 26th. Brandon Cobb, 28th place finish. Seth Feider, 38th place. And Ike finished with the 35th place. The actual picks for Keystone Crew were John Cox with the 7th place. Jacob Powrowznik had a 32nd place. Scott Martin had a 10th place finish. Greg Hackney had a 12th place finish. And Kyle Welcher had an 80th place finish. If you had a perfect roster, this is picking buckets A through E, and you pick these guys: John Cox with the 7th place, Buddy Gross with the 1st place, Ray Hanselman with the 3rd, Drew Benton had a 2nd, and Kenta Kimura had a 9th place finish. My weight was way off. I said 98 pounds, 13 ounces. And the winning weight was actually 75 pounds, 11 ounces. I really thought it was going to be a huge event in terms of weight, and it ended up kind of to be, Florida, unpredictable like that. All right, so let's get into the big event here, the Bassmaster Classic. For those of you who don't know, the Bassmaster Classic is Bass's major event for the year. Anglers have to earn a spot via the Opens or qualify for and have enough success in the Elite Series to get in. Bassmaster College Series, Bass Nation, and Team Championships also offer paths to get into the Classic. So my gut picks when these first released right after Harris Chain finished, my gut picks when they came out, I went with bucket A, Brandon Cobb. He's owned by 23.4%. Bucket B, Stetson Blaylock, owned by 19%. Bucket C, Buddy Gross, owned by 20%. Bucket D, Bryan New, 34.2%. And Bucket E, KJ Queen, 24.1%. I went with a lot of homers there. A lot of people that are from the Carolinas or, geographically close to the Carolinas. But what you guys been waiting for, my research picks. These are the ones that, ignore my gut because it's been terrible. Go with the research picks here. So here's the research picks that I have. Once again, I power rank the picks from Bass Pundits, different articles I read, videos that I watch, and I formulate, my power ranking system. I'm going to give you the top 2 or 3 anglers in each bucket that, I think is actually going to perform based off what I've read, what I've watched, and what I've kind of searched for through my research. So bucket A, my top ranked angler is Jason Christie. He's currently owned by 15.9% of the people playing fantasy fishing out there right now. I think he's got a score to settle, like the commercial says, and, I expect him to have a decent showing. My second ranked angler is Patrick Walters in bucket A, owned by 17.4% of everybody out there. Like I said, my gut pick, though, I got to go with the hometown guy, Brandon Cobb, 23.4%. I really think he's going to have a solid tournament here. Bucket B, I have Gerald Swindle as my first rank pick. He is 9.3% owned. And then I follow that with Drew Cook, He's currently owned by 4% of the people playing out there. Both solid picks. Bucket B for me was really tough to pick. I'm going, though, with my gut, like I said, and I'm sticking with Stetson Blaylock with 19%. Bucket C, Scott Martin, my top-ranked angler there, 26% owned. And then followed by Matt Herron, who, might be a sneakier pick for you guys in terms of owned percentage. He's only owned by 2.1%, but everything that I read is lining up that, he should have a really decent showing here. And especially being out of Bucket C, that's what you're looking for. I'm going with Buddy Gross, though. He's been decent this year, and he's owned by 20%. So my gut's going with Buddy Gross. But my research out of Bucket C, Scott Martin, Matt Herron. Bucket D, I went with Bryan New. He's owned by 34.2%. I felt like it was kind of a safe pick in Bucket D. High owned percentage, so I'm kind of going with the pack there on that one as my top-ranked angler in Bucket D. My second-ranked angler I have is David Mullins, owned by 28.9% of the people out there, so they're both high percentage owned. And then, like I said, my pick was my gut before I even saw this was Bryan New. Bucket E, I have Joey Nania. He's owned by 6.1% out there. And then my second-ranked angler would be Justin Hamner, 9.5%. My pick, though, and, a lot of people are on him, too, is KJ Queen with 24.1%. He's had a pretty good season so far, and, he's from the area. My tie-breaking weight, remember, this event is a 3-day event, not a 4-day event. So it's going to sound a little bit low, but I'm going with 49 pounds, 8 ounces. Remember, 3-day, not 4. So a recap of my picks real quick, and I'm not going into really strategies or techniques or anything like that with this for the Classic, because pretty much anything could be in play. The weather, we're not really sure what to expect with the weather. It's supposed to be, pretty warm, I'm hearing. I think the high 60s, maybe low 70s. So that's probably putting the water temperature around 50. So I'm not really sure what to expect out of this one. But it's the Classic. They all earned a spot there. They're all really, really good. So it should be just an enjoyable event to watch. I'm pretty sure it's being broadcast on Fox Sports 1, as usual. But to recap my picks, my gut picks, the ones that I'm going with on my personal account. Brandon Cobb from Bucket A, 23.4%. Bucket B, Stetson Blaylock, 19% owned. Bucket C, Buddy Gross, 20% owned. Bucket D, I have Bryan New, 34.2% owned. And Bucket E, KJ Queen, 24.1% owned. Now, Keystone Crew, our actual picks here. All right, based on the research. These are ones that, my wife is going to pick on her account. Bucket A, Jason Christie, 15.9% owned. Bucket B, Gerald Swindle, 9.3% owned. Bucket C, Scott Martin, at 26% owned. And Bucket D, Bryan New, 34.2% owned. Bucket E, I have Joey Nania at 6.1%. Time for Mercury Drain the Lake. Our survival pool basically is what it is. You can't pick an angler again. And the Classic is tough because, you have to qualify for it. So there's a lot of good anglers there to pick. So maybe if you're saving somebody for later on in the season, it's a little bit difficult on this one because they're probably in the Classic and you want to have a good showing. So picking these anglers is going to be a little bit tougher, I would say. But there's some that, you just, maybe you had in mind all year that I'm saving them from this event. Like for myself, that was Brandon Cobb. So here's what we have going on here. I have Daisuke Aoki, Brandon Cobb, Hank Cherry, Jason Christie, Shane LeHew, Joey Nania, Jacob Powrowznik, and Patrick Walters. That's who I'm using for my Mercury Drain the Lake. Good luck to everybody out there playing. We'll catch you next time here Keystone Crew Outdoors. Like and subscribe to the channel. And hopefully you don't all pass me on our group. Once again, you can look for our group on there. Prizes every week for fantasy fishing. If you join a bunch of different groups, Tackle Warehouse has a real nice one. Hella Bass has a nice one. And, you know, just because you missed the first couple events doesn't mean you can't sign up and still be eligible to win these prizes. It takes one tournament, and there's prizes every week. See you soon.